Hey gorgeous, welcome to Happy Go Fabulous. I am so thrilled that you're here. This is our space where we get real about life, the good, the messy and all the juicy bits in between. Real talk, real life and a whole lot of delicious living. But I must warn you, listening may cause unexpected outbreaks of fabulousness and real life magic. Hi, I'm Catherine and I am so incredibly passionate about helping inspired, motivated, impact-driven, freedom-seeking people just like you to do the deep inner work to create those beautiful outer wonders in life. It's all about revolutionising your relationship with yourself, where you fall madly, deeply in love with who you are and create a life so fabulous you can't wait to jump out of bed every morning to live it. Ready? Because ordinary living is so last season. Life's waiting and it's time to make it fabulous. Let's shimmy on in. Hey gorgeous, how are you? Oh my gosh, how am I feeling? I'm feeling nervous, apprehensive and overwhelmed. just to capture a few of the emotions that I'm feeling. This is the first part. This podcast, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go, but I feel called to capture this real time for you. So I'm unfiltered. I wasn't planning on recording a podcast this morning, so I'm very, very unfiltered. And my content will be really, really unfiltered, which it always is anyway. So today, tomorrow, and probably the next day, I'm anticipating are going to be really, really big days. And I'm intrigued as to what will happen on the back of these really, really big days. So guess what I'm going to do? If you've listened to my previous podcasts about the box of stuff, family photos that broke, and I felt like it nearly broke me. Well, today is the start of a rebuild, and it's about, so just backtracking a little bit, we've moved into this gorgeous new property. When we put our house on the market in Canberra, we put stuff in storage because we hadn't organised a new house and where we were going to go, and we put the stuff away thinking maybe we might need this. And there were things that we wanted to get out of the house so it wouldn't look too cluttered when it was on the market. So we put them into storage, and then we moved here almost 10 months ago, and it's kind of been in storage there. And it's been in a shipping container. So what I did a couple of months ago, and there was a podcast episode on the back of that, is that we pulled everything out of the shipping container. We didn't go through it. We put it into the garage, and then we needed to put shelves into the shipping container. And the next process is, this is what's going to happen now, is to go through those boxes. And this is major, major, major decluttering, organising, because the things that we're going to go through, they either will go, if we don't need them and if they're not for donating, there'll be a rubbish pile. There will be a donating pile. There might be a selling pile, but I predict that it will mainly be donating pile. Then the stuff that goes back into the shipping container is what we're using now. It's not like, oh, we might need this for one day, or I'm not sure what to do with it. It's like, I'm sure what to do with it. So there is a process, and I've just been on a couple of calls with some friends today talking about it, because I feel, you can hear it in my voice, It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal physically because there's lots of stuff to sort through. It's a big deal emotionally. It's a really big deal emotionally because there's a lot of stuff. It represents a lot of letting go. And it's not necessarily the stuff in the box, what that stuff in the boxes represents. And it's a lot of healing. There's going to be, I hope there's a lot of healing out of this, because there's a lot of apprehension. And we've still got stuff of Dad's from when he passed away. It's just like, I don't know what to do with that. There's the family heirlooms. There's the family photos at the box that broke before. There's stuff of ours, there's baby stuff, there's just a lot of stuff to go through. And I need order, I need structure, I need it to be an efficient process. So there's the physicality of it. John and Ellie, my daughter, will be helping. Henry's not here, so luckily he gets out of that process. But it's about how do we physically organise it. So, and we all have a slightly different approach to that. But then it's about the going through the stuff. And it'll be interesting just what that process, I feel really apprehensive about it. And I think part of it is there's a lot of decisions that I'm going to need to make, and I'm tired. Like today I'm actually physically and emotionally tired, but I've had a couple of, this week I was back in Canberra with my coaching clients, so that's always a big day. And then I had another big day of driving, catching up with a girlfriend yesterday, which was awesome, but just tired. But I'm emotionally exhausted and kind of going, I think it's this stuff about clearing these bloody boxes. So there's a lot of letting go, a lot of letting go. And as I've mentioned on previous podcast episodes, so 2025 is a 9-year, and that's all about bringing cycles to completion. So this is a big, bringing this going through the stuff is a big cycle for me, but it's what it represents. I think there's a lot of ancestral healing that will happen, and it's about what do I choose to do from here, if that makes sense. And there's a couple of different analogies that come to mind, and this will give you insight into how my mind works. Like it's way too visual. The first one was about being in the ocean, and I feel like I've been on this series of waves where you're just getting dumped, and I've had a bit of a breather, but I'm on the crest of this really big wave, and it feels today as though I'm probably going to get dumped and go through that murkiness of the water. And you know, when you get dumped and sand gets in your cozies, and cozies, your swimming costume for those that are not here in Australia, but you get sand in your cozies and the ferociousness of the waves rips your cozies off, and you stand up and you got no pants on or no top on. Your cozie top's kind of got all skew-iff and your buzzies are hanging out and stuff like that. It feels like that could happen. And I feel like, you know, that dumper that today probably isn't going to be the bit where I come up and I'm just feeling calm, or it might be, I don't know. So I'm capturing the before, and then I'll come back and I'll record some more once I've actually been through the boxes. So that's one of the analogies. And another analogy came forward about being sucked into these whales, like I've been swallowed into a whale the last however many years, and I've been sort of swimming around whale guts. Like I haven't been drowning, but I have felt trapped inside the whale, and I feel like today I'm going to get shot out at spout, and it's this big thing, and then it's not sure where I'm going to land. I'm not sure if I'm going to land on, you know, calm waters on an airbed and somebody hands me a mojito, or whether I'm just going to get shot into a sinking ship. I don't know, but it feels like today I'm getting shot out of a whale's tummy, out of its spout. And then just talking with my girlfriend, Michelle, if you're listening, we were talking about, Michelle gave me some really good advice. She said, when you're going into this, make sure you get your cozies out of your butt first. So make sure you protect yourself, you're prepared. So being emotionally prepared for it. But she was also talking about, it's like that I'm at this crossroads. I'm at an interchange point, like the railroads, that you know, when a train's coming along the tracks and then there's an interchange that it can go down one way or another way, that I'm at the interchange, and I can either continue to keep, you know, chugging along, or I can choose to do things differently. And even though this feels very overwhelming for me and I just want to click my fingers and for it all to be done, I know that this process is going to be really powerful for me in not just my healing, but more of the ancestral healing, that there's some decisions that I'm making will help others in the family lineage to heal as well. And that I'm letting go of the custodians of some of the things that I've got in those boxes. And it's about the decisions I make with them. What do I do? Are my kids going to want a lot of that family stuff? Probably not. It's more the memories. And so it's the decisions that I make around this. And, what am I passing on and who am I passing that on to? So it's not just the physical stuff, but it's what do I want my legacy to be? And it feels big. It feels really big. And it feels big. And I know some of you will be listening to this and going, what the fuck? Like, it's just some boxes. It's not just some boxes. You'll be with my husband. He's just going, what the fuck? Like, and no, he won't. He'll be very kind. No, he won't. He'll be, what the fuck? They're just boxes. But some of you will be going, I don't get it. I don't get why you're making this into such a big deal. But it's what those things in the boxes represent. And it's this, I'm in a cycle of letting go. I'm in a cycle of renewal. I'm in a cycle of rebirth and all the things about, the moves and the decisions that I've made in life. At this point, it's like I'm at that junction, that interchange, and what's next. And part of me is, I don't know I don't know. I don't have a clear direction of what that journey is next. I have a sense, but I talk a lot about, if you're feeling lost, here are some things to help you get unstuck or to get back on track and to find clarity. I'm going through that right now. And it can be overwhelming, but we'll see what the second part of this we'll see what how I land out of that whale's tummy, or if I get dumped, or if my cozie goes up my butt, or if it, is full of sand and gets ripped off me. We'll see. I'll come back and definitely report on that. And the other, I guess what I just want to share now, when I was talking with Michelle, that she said, gird your loins. I'm like, what does that mean? And she said, when ancient, I don't know if she was talking about Romans or not, but ancient warriors were going into battle, they would pull up their tunics and tuck them into their undies but they protect their private bits, their loins, the bits where they're vulnerable. And she said, just, prepare yourself for, battle in inverted commas. That sounds maybe a bit dramatic for what I'm going through. Whereas whale's tummy and being dumped in the ocean doesn't sound dramatic, but it's about, out of fighting can come victory. So it's the whole process. So this might seem, some of you will be just going, Catherine, what are you even going on about? A lot of you I know will get it. I know a lot of you will get it, and you'll be just going, oh, good luck, girlfriend. So I'm capturing it today. It is now 12:13 as I record this. I'm scheduled with the family at 12:30 to go out and enter that container and start girding my loins and getting my cozies. I said to Michelle that maybe instead of wearing bikini in and getting dumped, I'll go and put a full suit. Is that what you call it? A full piece on. So prepare myself. But anyway, the intentions for this part of the process are that it will go smoothly, it will go seamlessly, and it will be easeful. It's an intentional process of me going through the boxes, but also what do I want to keep physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? What do I want to release and let go of physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and to be able to let go with love and ease. So let's see. Let's see how that goes, because I do feel it is affecting me physically. I feel you can hear it in my voice, that I've got some asthma-y symptoms, breathing, like I can't breathe. So we'll see how they get relieved. Okay, see you on the other side. Love you. So I am back again. This is not quite 24 hours, but it's the day after the day before. So this is part two. And oh my goodness, I feel like a completely different person. It feels like I feel a million times lighter and motivated, like super, super, super motivated. Here's how it went down. I started the unpacking and full of that dread. Like, you know how, yes, the part one I was sharing with you the before, there was dread. There was a whole lot of emotions. It was this heaviness. And I set my intentions about that the process would happen with ease and grace, and it would be really seamless. So I went out. So all the boxes were in, that we'd taken them out of the container. We'd put them in the garage. So I haven't been able to put my car in the garage for the last little while. And I just thought, I'm going to take them out and I'll put some order. It's interesting. I really like order and structure, so I can be flexible within that. But I do like order. And I think since I've been moved into this new place, we've did that initial unpack and that felt really good. And then there's just been this lingering stuff, and we just haven't had the energy to get around to, we've done bits gradually, but the big part, we haven't had the energy to do it. And we sort of just shoved it all into the garage, and there was no order to it. And it was just like, that's okay, because I knew the process was that we would end up getting it out and then putting it back into the container. So when I got it out of the garage, out of the shed, I put it into piles of like stuff. So all of our camping stuff together, all of the beach stuff, the kids stuff, John's stuff, my stuff, household stuff. And when I started doing that, that John and Ellie weren't home yet. They were due to be home, but they got home a little bit later than they had said. And I was kind of getting a little bit of in my head about that, going, well, this is a big deal for me, but obviously it's not for them. And they're just like, yeah, whatever. And that was kind of frustrating me a bit, but I was able to get that out of my head pretty quickly. So I just got everything out of I didn't get it all out. They did end up coming home, and it just flowed so easily. We sort of had the system there about where things would go. We had it all out, and then we were able to, there were some things that we could just go, you know what, we're not going to keep these set of drawers, and we're not going to keep these old, shitty chairs that we've had and blah, blah, blah. So there was easy just to go into the pile to go to the tip. And then there was some stuff that we went, yep, we don't want to keep this, but it's too good to throw out. So that went into our donating pile. And then we had, and then there was boxes that weren't going to go back in storage. They would have come back into the house, and they were the Tupperware container boxes and the cooking, the cake tins and the things that the sandwich maker and stuff like that. So the boxes came into the house, and then we had our little system about how things were going to go back into the container. John's put shelves up, which was fantastic. And we put things in, and it was a little bit like playing, it wasn't even like Tetris, but it just flowed so smoothly that it was just like, yep, here's a great spot. These are the things we're going to access. We'll need more access to, so they'll go at the front, and then the things that the kids have got in storage that they'll go through at some stage when they need them, they're going to go at the back in the dungeon area. And it just flowed so easily. And I think I could feel something in me going, this is seamless. This is the intention of ease and grace. It was just like, this is actually happening. And it felt good. And it took 5 hours. It was a big job. And so anyway, my car's back in the garage. So the garage is clear. We've still got, John's got all of his, if you think about, John collects tools and gadgets. I have an excess of clothes and shoes. So John has a system. He's got, so it's a 3-bay shed. So there's one bay for my car. The middle bay will be for my mower and for sort of those bigger machinery. Feels weird saying that. And then there's another bay, which is John's workshop. So there's still stuff there, but it's really doable and manageable. It's just a bit of tinkering stuff. And then the boxes that have come, so the shed, the container is done. I think there was 3 boxes in there that was just like, I don't have the energy to go through. They're really ones that should be inside, but we've just left them in the container. Then there's a number of other boxes that are back in the house, but to me they're just an ordinary household unpacking boxes. There's no emotional attachment to them. They're just things about, okay, cake tins, do we need that many cake tins? Do we need that many baking trays? How many casserole dishes do we actually need? For me, that just feels very doable and very manageable. And even there's some, like I've got a scarf in my hair today, that there's things that like scarves. You know, really, do I need that many scarves? This one's kind of cute. This is a navy and white spotted little head scarf. And while I'm growing my hair out, that's fun to do. So there's stuff, and we still need to find some space for stuff. And there's a ton of books that, oh my gosh, so many books, but we've got no bookshelves here. So we'll be doing another IKEA run. But the emotions, I think the build up to it, and this isn't like, oh, it's one day and it's all a bit hard. This is years of emotional build up. I can't even put a word on that. I was going to say trauma. It's not, it's just emotional stuff that, you know, when Dad passed away, that was trauma. Not so much his passing, but Dad, he had dementia and he hoarded stuff, and it took us a very long time to go through that. And my 2 brothers and I, and it affected each of us very differently in our respective families in helping. Like it was a traumatic time in clearing up Dad had been in his house for 60 years. And after Mum passed away, he had Mum's stuff that was from her mum. And then when his Mum and Dad were both only children. And so he had stuff from his Mum and Dad. And there was a lot of family. I think a friend of mine who's a decluttering expert was saying it's about that heirloom. It wasn't clutter, but the heirloom stuff that, you know, what do you do with that? So that was tricky. We kept that because I was just like, I'm not ready to part with it, but I don't know what to do with it. And, you know, I'd like to keep all those teacups. You know, if I'm running events and retreats here, those cute teacups from my grandmothers and my mother and stuff, it's like they would be cute to have, but really, am I going to use them? I don't know. So there was a lot of stuff there that we inherited. We have our own stuff as well. Then when John's mum passed away, we had some of her stuff, but we managed it differently. And, you know, is it boy versus girl, being, you know, son versus daughter, and thinking about passing things on. John only kept a few things from his mum that were really sentimental, and from his dad. His dad passed away before we got married, and he kept some things there. So he's very much about, I'll just have a couple of things and that's all I need, which is good. That was good. And then after the move, you know, we put stuff in storage, not knowing where we were going to be living, and there was a lot of stuff there. And I must admit, my office, I don't feel settled in the office. There's not storage here, and I've just got stuff in my office. So that'll be my next thing that I'll need to tackle. But that, to me, that doesn't feel emotional. That feels very exciting about how do I want to set up. Like at the moment, you know, I've got a nice setup, but it's not very practical. I've got a lot of stuff on the floor that you can't see. So it's not very practical. But once I got in and started doing the moving, I sort of made that decision that yesterday would be that next big part in the process, and it did go seamlessly, and it happened with ease and grace. And it felt like the emotions, maybe me even chatting about it yesterday, but I felt like it was time. It was ready for me to do that. And the heaviness has oh my gosh, I feel like crying now, but not crying from overwhelm and heaviness, crying, I've got tears for every occasion, but crying for the release, for, yesterday, it was yesterday, but part one of this episode when I was talking about that, about to be dumped in the waves and is your cozie going to get ripped off? Do you know what it felt like, or it feels like now, that it was you're anticipating this big wave that's going to come and dump you, but it didn't end up being the big wave. It was actually, sure, there was a bit of turmoil, but you get up and you go, oh my God, my cozie is in, it's on. Like my buzzies are in my, it's not up my butt or anything. It hasn't been ripped off me. It was just like, yep, it was a gentle dumping, if that makes sense. And even when I mentioned about that feeling I was in these whale guts, that I was trapped. And yesterday, so part one, when I was describing this, there was a whole ickiness around it, but it feels like I have been shot out through the whale spout, but it was a very cleansing. It's like it was a very cleansing and gentle expulsion and that I landed just really gracefully. And I'm reflecting even from yesterday, and it'll be interesting when I listen back to this, just the differences. I can feel it. I can absolutely feel it. I don't know if you can hear it. I'd be interested to get your feedback on listening to this. But the heaviness has gone and it's been replaced with that really lightness. And I find it really, really hard to even tap into the emotions that I was feeling yesterday. And that's a very cool sign that when I do a lot of my coaching practices, and there's different techniques that I use, and one of them is about the recoding of, it's releasing the limiting beliefs, the negative emotions, and it's doing some recoding around that. And one of the little test points is getting people to see whether they can tap into the way that they used to feel. And if they can't, that's a very cool sign. And if they do, it's just like, okay, we need to do a little bit more recoding around that. I feel that it's I can't tap into that ickiness that I was feeling yesterday. Like, I know consciously I was feeling it, but I can't feel it in my body. In my body, that has been replaced with, I actually feel very motivated to go through the rest of the boxes. And I have not felt that. I don't think I've ever, knowing in the whole move and knowing in the whole lead up, I have had a very negative association with what those boxes mean. Whereas today I feel very motivated to go through the rest of them, to do the rest of the cleansing, the releasing, and the letting go. I feel very motivated to do that, whereas there's been a whole lot of resistance leading up to it. So that is super cool. There was something else I was going to say, and that's gone completely out of... Oh, and the reason that I do the podcasts, some of the topics might seem a bit random to you, but I do a lot of them that are reflective of what's going on for me in life at the moment. And yesterday was a big one. So I'm glad I captured that, because it'll be interesting to go back and reflect on the differences. Actually, I probably won't, because I don't want to go back and dig up the stuff that I was feeling. I want to really just move forward from where I am now. But I guess my key reflections are that, if you are feeling something heavy and resisting, what is it that's the resistance for you? And, just sit with that. For me, it was about dealing with some heavy emotions and needing to release and move on. And I must admit, just before I go on all those reflections, there are still 3 boxes. One of them is the family photos that collapsed on me the other week and I did a podcast around that, where I felt that I was broken. I still have that box of photographs, and I think there's 2 other boxes of family heirloom type things. Like now I'm talking stuff about, I'm not talking about things that I've kept some heirlooms, absolutely. But these are things that I don't feel that there's a place for, and I'm not ready to make the decision about it. And I got that really good advice from my friend Michelle yesterday when we were talking, that she said, don't feel that you need to make a decision about everything. And those 3 boxes, I'm not quite ready to make a decision, but I don't feel that heavy feeling. It's just like, okay, in the next, I want to get through the boxes in the house so I can get that cleared up, and I do have that order and structure back. And then it's about, I feel that I can make those decisions around it. Whereas before, when I would think about those boxes, I was so overwhelmed, and I could feel it in my body, just the overwhelm. So getting back to reflections is the heaviness. It's about, recognizing what that is for you and why you're feeling that, and, what do you need to do around that? And then get in and do it in manageable chunks. I've definitely chunked this down. I just did not have the energy to do this all at once. I just did not have that energy. So we did it into sort of bite-sized chunks that we could manage. And then I got some wins. I feel, Michelle and I were talking about, the girding your loins, protecting the bits that are vulnerable. And it's about, feeling like that going into battle and victory. Yesterday didn't feel like a battle. It felt like a task that was time for me to do. But it feels like a victory. It absolutely feels like a victory. I feel that there's a whole lot of things that represents the lead up to it, and let's just call it the letting go, decluttering, releasing, but the going through all of the stuff and the letting go, it feels to me that that's going to be a pretty pivotal point. So Michelle was talking about those, the interchange. I'm at that interchange point and the directions of where you want to go, that I feel that I've got goosebumps. I've absolutely got goosebumps now, that this is I'm at a point, and then it's about making those conscious decisions about where to from here. So I know that might feel, for some of you listening, as I said in part 1, it might feel like, oh my God, Catherine, this is just way over the top for unpacking some boxes. I think you kind of get the vibe that this wasn't just unpacking the boxes for me, that it represents so much more than that. And I feel really proud that I've been able to work through some big stuff, and I feel really excited as to what might unfold from this. I know what I was going to say. Like when I was saying that this might, for some of you, might just go, oh my God, this is just a bit over the top. When I was studying spiritual psychology a couple of years ago, and we set our intention for what we're wanting to focus on during those 2 years of study, within ourselves and our growth and evolution. And that was, I think, probably coinciding with when Dad passed away and dealing with myself and family and stuff. And one of my intentions was, how do I move through these emotions? It must have coincided, gosh, I've blocked a lot of that out, with needing to go through, after Dad had passed away, going through all of his stuff, and how do I do that in a kind and compassionate way to myself. So it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And I feel fucking amazing. I feel amazing. So thank you. Gosh, anyway, I think I'll leave it there. There's some other stuff that'll probably pop into my head, but good news is I landed well. My cozies didn't get ripped off me in the analogy. You know that I do view life in metaphors sometimes, and I feel that I'm floating in some very calm waters and feel very excited about what's coming from this. So thank you, and let's see where the next episode takes us. Love and hugs to you. Bye. Actually, before I sign off, I just wanted to mention, if you want some help going through your own versions of letting go, releasing, and what you want to call in, get in touch with me. I've opened up a few spots for, I'm calling them soul activation sessions. They're 90 minutes of time where I devote to you, and I help you in what area of life that you want some assistance with, whether that is about the letting go or the ending cycles, bringing things to completion, so you can work out what it is you want next. A lot of the soul activation sessions are around getting clarity, and they're around releasing what's been getting in the way. And I do that through, strategy, through guidance, through different processes that I can use with you. There's intuitive guidance, there's the strategic guidance that I use. So each session is tailored specifically to you, and they're 90 minutes. They're short and sharp. We can get in, we can deal with a whole lot of stuff within that time. In person, if you're down this way at Bingy, or online, a lot of the sessions I do online. And that we can do that together. So the soul activation sessions, just send me a message or follow me on socials. And I'm just taking, applications for those. I only open up a few spots each month. And if you want to deal with bigger stuff and longer term commitments, I do have my Elevate coaching and mentoring program. So they're 3 and 6 month containers where, again, it's focused specifically for you and the areas that you're wanting to work in. A lot of the really diving deep into where you're at in life, helping you to get clarity about where you want to be, and then about helping you to set that direction to be able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. So that's the Elevate coaching program. And if you go to the Work With Me page on my website, it'll have the Elevate. For the soul activation sessions, I've got some different one-on-one sessions there you can choose from. But what I find is we kind of amalgamate those. So if you're interested, reach out, DM me, email me through my socials. I would love to help you. You can see how much that I'm going through personally. Like, I've got tools and strategies to be able to do that. And sometimes I will go to others to help me as well. I go to my team. But if you're wanting someone to help you, I'd love to do that, even if you want to have a chat and see how we can work together. Okay. Love to you. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Go Fabulous. I hope you loved it. If you did, could I ask a big favour? Please subscribe, leave a review, and most importantly, share the love and let your besties know about the podcast. This will help get it into the hearts and ears of all the gorgeous souls who need a little bit of fabulous in their life. If you'd like some more high vibe happiness in your life, come and visit me on my Happiness Hive socials, and make sure you've signed up to my newsletter, your weekly drop of juicy goodness. Pop over to my Happiness Hive website and click on the link Working with Catherine. I'd love to help you make life amazing. Until next time, keep being fabulous.